and it allows us to get into our conversation at this hour this morning. And we're going to be looking at, a number of things. What these handouts actually mean from an oversight and a legislative point of view. And folks who are going to represent two of those areas are here with us in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. The Senator for the Republic of Kenya, representing the people of Nyamira County, is Senator Okong'o Omogeni. Good morning, Senator.
Yes, good morning to you.
Karibu sana. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
I is SpiceFM.
Spicing things up.
Plus, we'll see in a minute. Karibu.
Asante sana.
And the Member of Parliament who represents the people of Kabuchai constituency is Majimbo Kalasinga. Good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu.
Asante sana.
You're well?
I'm very well.
Thank you both for being here this morning.
Yes.
And by popular demand of the good senator, today we need you to interpret our proverb. Dennis is going to tell us where it's from, and they would love to hear from you. You do this every day, Senator.
You said by demand of...
Yes.
Popular demand
of the senator.
Yeah.
Am I lying?
Now I know who to trust and who not to trust.
Anyway, today we're in Libya. Think about Libya, think about Muammar Gaddafi and his time and his reign. A time when affordable housing was a reality, when healthcare was free, when education was free for the people. A country that is predominantly a desert, but he did everything to ensure that the people have water.
Though there was very limited freedom.
Yes.
In Libya, I think...
yes.
There's a journalist called Musau. There's a late Masanya. There's Tom Obondo. We went to Libya. I was then serving as the president of Law Society of Kenya, courtesy of Muammar Gaddafi. And that time we had this campaign of uniting Africa.
Yes.
So he sent me an invitation, fully paid, and we went to Libya. The things you are saying are very true.
Yes.
But I remember a conversation I had with one of the guys who was tasked to take us around. And I think he was a very senior officer within the military. And at one point, he requested me to walk with him to the shores of the Mediterranean.
Yes.
And he told me, everything you are seeing here, inside people are hurting. He said, here, we don't have freedom to do anything. The leader, they used to call him the leader. Here, the leader determines everything. The food I get to my children, where I live, we really don't have freedom. And he said, so when you go back, I brought you to this, very far from that building.
Yep.
Because if I said what I'm telling you,
be picked up,
and it gets to the leader, that will be the end of my life. So I realized that people in Libya who are really hurting inside. They had all those things you are saying, but there was no freedom. People didn't have that right of making choices. So I was, it was sad to see Gaddafi go a few years after that. But I remember that conversation, that what happened in Libya is something that had been boiling for a long time. I think that's why we say a good country, a good democratic country, should give people freedom.
Yes.
Everybody, even your children in the house, where you work, where we are, everybody needs freedom.
Majimbo Kalasinga as well. Just your sentiment on what has been shared.
Very well. And we can still have both. We can still have good development, free education, good medication, with given to the people by a good leader.
Yes.
So that Libya, a country that gave out so many good things to the people, but by a dictator. As I'm saying, as well, that can be even in this country. You can get very good housing. I'm not going that direction. Yeah. But still in this country, we can have a good person who can do all those very good development, and is a good person with a good heart, and that's the person we're looking for.
Yes, because our proverb today was, a man who buys shoes without measuring his feet is not far different from a man who has eyes without vision. Yes.
I think you've already interpreted the proverb, both of you,
proverb
without even
knowing.
interpreting it. Okay. So it's interesting that both of you should actually come from that point of view, because what we're talking about today is handouts, empowerment, and political the politics of Harambes, and that we've seen it. It's a tool that has been used by politicians. It's a tool that is used by government even today. And how do you mark the difference between the two? Because in the recent past, when we say, well, you can't be giving out handouts like this, Senator, but then we're told it's not handouts, it's empowerment. How do you mark the difference between the two?
I think there are some good initiatives from our development partners, like the World Bank, recognizing that the rate of unemployment is very high in this country, and that we have a huge youth population that needs to be supported to be able to put food on the table and to be economically independent. So there are a number of initiatives that have been rolled out to assist a number of African countries. If you go to Rwanda, you'll get those initiatives there. You go to Tanzania, you get those initiatives. You go to Ghana, everywhere. They're also there in Kenya. I think the difference is the way we are politicizing these loans. And it's a loan. I hope Kenyans understand that this is not this is not money that is being given to us as a charity. The president and his supporters can come up with a charity and say, we want to help the poor and the vulnerable. That is different. This is money that is coming to us from World Bank and is supposed to be disbursed in a way that is very scientific, benefit Kenyans across the political divide. It's not money that has been brought to give maybe the people of Bungoma, to use that example, because they support the government of the day, or to exclude the people of Nyamira because their senator does not identify with broad base. This is money that's supposed to benefit all Kenyans. So that is a good thing. What I find a problem is when you want to politicize this issue of handouts, making it to look like the person giving that money to you is your savior. If he's not there, then it's like life will come to a standstill. No, not at all. So let the money come, but let us use it in a manner that does not demean the people we are trying to assist. Let the people understand that this money is rolled by World Bank. It can be disbursed to us, even if tomorrow Kasinga, Majimbo Kalasinga is the president, or Okong'o Omogeni is the president. That commitment from World Bank is there. So it doesn't require any magic for us to get that money at all.
Yet, Majimbo Kalasinga, what we see is that the communication on what these funds are is where we get it all wrong. Because what Mwananchi is picking up from what is being said is these are funds that are coming from this government because inatusaidia. There is failure in communication for Mwananchi to understand where this is coming from, what it ought to achieve, and how government then is a steward in ensuring that this takes a certain route. Why are we seeing then politicization of things that ought not to be politicized in the first place?
In the first place, this fund should be understood that actually is a loan, and this government will pay through generations to come. So that's point number one. Point number two is that they are skewing the selection of who gets this money where. That's the other problem. It's now political. Now, what I'm trying to see is more of a reward. It's a reward to a section that is saying yes. To us, that is the worst thing. If at all we Kenyans were asked on how to do it, because actually look at the impact. And then when you are talking of empowerment, it should be sustainable empowerment. It should be an empowerment that you give today to a youth, and you will never go to him again to support him. He has to run his life throughout his life. He's supported. So it should be sustaining. Sustainability of an empowerment must be enough. What do I mean by enough? You cannot take your 25 days of training. Yeah, you are being trained for 25 days. You are using your boda per day to go for that training. 25 days. You spend around 8 or 10,000 shillings. Take your lunch. and then you get 25,000 shillings at the end of the day. You see, these 25,000 shillings cannot start any project. The Kenyan economy has just, everything is totally expensive. I think that was the empowerment you began with. There is another empowerment that people are talking about. These are the handout kind of thing, where you say, Sasa Mamamboga empowerment. We are going to a place to give you to fundraise and empower the people. I think that is tokenism. I believe that an empowerment of our people in any nation starts with the basics. You empower the people by having better education, quality, cheap education. You'll have proper health education, health insurance of any country. You'll have the better infrastructure. What do I mean? If you have your milk in Olkalau or Tumaini or Katunde Merangine inside that Olkalau, that milk has to reach the market to Brookside, Nairobi by better infrastructure for roads. I have one time been in Olkalau, almost 15 years ago. You see, to pull milk, a farmer who has milk in a place called Tumaini or Katunde Merangine or Gilgil West, to pull that milk from his home onto a tractor, it's muddy. To reach Olkalau, it's midday. Now, a truck carrying milk from Olkalau to Brookside, it gets in the morning the following day. Milk is spoiled. So these farmers are first of all disadvantaged. If we get the better infrastructure, that's empowerment. We have no problem with what is going on. But we must stop. Also, we must stop politicizing sections. I have looked at how things are done. We must have a change. And then I'm realizing that even this country must plan its ways. Every empowerment has to come through budget. That will reach the people properly. You know, this can if it goes through budget, then there will be nothing like you are a yes man or a no man. I'm telling you, these beneficiaries of this money, go and find out. There are people who are chosen because you are somewhere. That's the difference.
Does Parliament have eyes on these empowerment funds that you're talking about? Can Parliament sit down and look at how these monies were spent, the allocation, what it did, so that we talk about the sustainability of these funds in one way or the other?
It ought to. But now the problem is that Parliament is no longer Parliament. You can get it for yourself. The Parliament that we have, the problem in Parliament is when you tie in opinion, you vote. But look at how the huge part of this Parliament has been auctioned to the other side. In fact, people don't want to see the better part of Parliament that has joined broad-based government. That was the worst that happened to our Parliament. We must demand our Parliament back. The Parliament of the Republic of Kenya has become an annexed of the executive. That is the best I can give.
Senator, where does this money come from?
It's the bulk of the money comes from a World Bank. The IDA also gives a small percentage. So it's actually, as he has put it, it's money that comes from international financial institutions, but not for free. It's
going to be paid back.
That we're going to repay back.
What about this money that we see splashed? Last year, was fantastic because different parts of the country the deputy president was doing a lot of empowerment in different parts. There were members of parliament who stood behind the empowerment drives. We've seen Olkalau. We see people getting water tanks and water pipes and gas and mattresses. I'm not sure where the mattresses come from or what they're meant for. But we see this. Where does that money come from? Does somebody not have to approve funds?
I think you asked
for
me
release?
You asked me that question, some times back. But first, maybe I can chip in on the question you asked, Mheshimiwa, whether Parliament can oversight the way the World Bank grants are being disbursed. The answer is yes. Parliament has powers to summon ministers, PSS, to come and explain how that money that is a loan to us has been disbursed. You look at the fairness, whether there has been an objective criteria, and of course audit on the impact. That's the work that Parliament is supposed to do. But as he said, there is a sustained effort to kind of silence Parliament. The government does not like being exposed, which is expected. When you have a government that really does not want to do things in line with our constitution, they will always be very uncomfortable when you are exposing them. Because if we did a serious audit, and I think at some point that must be done, the government will really be embarrassed. But about these other money that we are seeing, there is during the tenure of President Uhuru, we passed some law that said when you walk to a bank, you cannot cash more than 1 million. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
And subsequent to that, we have passed a number of laws, including anti-money laundering. And we are committed to the international community that we will not have dirty money circulating around.
Yes.
And that there will be some form of accountability. If I'm walking to an Arambe with 10 million shillings, I should be able to explain
where
that money has come from. And here we must fault the oversight institutions. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, I think 2 weeks ago, released a report where they raided a junior officer from the city, the county of Nairobi, and they recovered 65 million shillings. Now I'm asking, this morning, there are these politicians who are displaying this money. It's not a raid. You don't need to raid. It's just summoning that guy to EACC and you ask him, Deputy President, we saw you donate 20 million. Where did that money come from?
Right.
Because if we don't do that, we are failing the accountability card. It means there is dirty money that is moving around. I would like to see the Deputy President, these ministers who, is it over the weekend? I saw people donating millions, carrying in sacks.
It's interesting that you say that because
and you're carrying money in sacks.
The EACC chair says today that their intent is to focus on graft prevention. That's what they want to do. So maybe they heard.
No, before
your thoughts.
About it. And you know, the beauty is the chair of EACC, Bishop Oginde, is actually a very respected church minister. He used to lead the Nairobi Pentecostal Church. So we need to, because me and Kalasinga, we don't have the constitutional power to go and summon Kindiki or other cabinet secretaries to tell us where that money is coming from. But we need answers. I mean, I want to understand as a Kenyan how God has chosen to only bless Kindiki and a few ministers to be able to walk around with 20 million when the people I represent who are in that audience can hardly donate 500 shillings. And how can you be proud as a minister to be leading a population where only a few cabal around you can walk around with millions, but other Kenyans can't even put food on the table? I mean, we are behaving the way the King Louis XVI behaved in France, where people were outside here telling him, we cannot put food on the table. And the wife is telling them, if you are not able to get bread in the shops, buy cakes, which are more expensive. We are very, very insensitive.
It might interest interesting to know that they chopped off Queen Catherine's head. After that. But,
if you go to France, that history is in the streets to remind every successful leader that you should never take people for granted. Those names have been embedded in the streets. You will find statues of those people as a reminder that there was somebody who led France who was very insensitive to the level of being stupid on how to address the people. And I think we are getting there. Because, Majimbo, how do people feel, when they are lining up in your office to get a bursary check of 5,000 shillings to take their children to school? But the person who is supposed to ensure that money is in the pocket of everybody is walking around with 20 million. Who says you don't know? Exactly. So I hope the commitment, I've not read the newspaper that further, but I hope that EACC can do something. Really, if you want to make a donation, you are Okong'o Omogeni, I have a bank account. Why can't I do a bank transfer to that church so that we can trace where that money has come from? You know, then if you go to the US, what they will do, they will also look at your tax declarations. Because if you're able to walk around and give 20 million to charity, it means that you are also one of the largest taxpayers in a country. So we must push EACC to do something. We also need to rein in on the ombudsman, because if there is any inaction from any of these officers, including EACC, the ombudsman should also step in and say, I have seen that EACC has not done action on some of these suspicious financial activities that are happening in the country.
So, I mean, sorry, I've got the Queen I was referencing was Marie Antoinette, of course, when she said that.
Under Louis XVI.
And so what she said flies in the face of anything that we asked the question then that if you are doing what needs to be done, if the people within a county, for example, have what they need, if the roads are functioning, if the systems function so that farmers are not taking milk for 12 hours and then it ends up bad, so then they don't have a livelihood, and then they're milk chillers, for example, set up by county governments, and if people are doing their job, then can we say then you actually don't need to go into a sleepy town to run it down with empowerment or handouts if you are doing the right thing? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. In the first place, this character of handout thrives where there is poverty. And this poverty, I think, is manufactured by those in power so that they can have, if handouts can assist them get back to power, then they must manufacture conditions. Yeah? Conditions that make a person very poor. One, you can have your milk, but it can't reach the market. So you don't have money. You have your sukuma wiki, it cannot reach the market because aphids are clearing it. You don't have the best sites. So when a person is that vulnerable, then he's a customer for receiving handouts. This government is making, and you see, if you take students to school, all of them, a better education system where all youths are in school, then you lack those goons. So they are working, they are manufacturing this kind of thing to make it. I want also to add a point, Mheshimiwa said, that we have leaders in this country. If you tell them that I slept hungry yesterday, they will tell you, did you miss appetite? See, in their mind, they believe he has nothing to do. How can you miss to eat? You refuse to cook. You see that what you said actually was in France, but what is in Kenya now is we have people in this country who have more money. A man who is too opulent to a level that he can have a bail of 2 million. He can have a watch of 5 million. Imagine. And this is walking to a church where people who are coming to bring sadaka, I call it sadaka, is 10 shillings, the coin, dropping in a 10 shilling coin. In fact, if you go to a church and listen, you can count the number of drops of coins in that box because they drop by sound. Almost all of them. And then you go with a bill of 2 million. I'm trying to say that actually we are creating a two-country level. And this kind of goonism that is coming because of this handout, we have a book. We had a book called Kinjegetile. Walisema neno likawa kubwa na likamshinda likamwangusha mwenyewe. This goon character is rising in this country. It will become a militia of its own. It will come to destroy this same country.
I'd like us to take a break, but I have to ask a question. Are we saying that it is absurd that a member of parliament, give or take, 1 million shillings is what you earn a month, and by the time it's subjected to tax, it comes down, you have allowances here and there, but okay. I mean, it's not going to go beyond, 15 or 1.5 million? Are we saying it's absurd that a member of parliament, the majority leader in parliament, no less, to turn up at an event with 5 million shillings, should it pose questions?
It should. Yes. It should. Okay. It should.
And you spoke about mattresses. I was the head of law site when we were crafting this constitution. Have you ever read what Article 81 says? That you should never win an election through corruption, through improper influence. Isn't that happening in Olokalaw?
Yes.
I mean, when you're giving people gas, I don't know that is true. I read the story in the newspaper, but you're giving people
if it's
gas
in the newspaper,
cookers.
It's true.
You're giving people gas cookers. You're giving people mattresses. I'm told
boats.
People from Nakuru ride on matatus, go to Olokalaw, and when they go back in the evening, they go back with 3,000, 4,000 shillings. That kind of money. And I'm seeing the chair of IBC saying that we are going to do something. By now, we should have seen action. Because please, an election is not a war where you must win by all means. An election is an opportunity to give people a fair and free process to pick their representatives. Why are we making Olokalaw look like it is a war between Kenya and Uganda, where we must protect our border, the integrity of our border by hook or crook.
Maybe people see it that way, Senator.
We shouldn't see it that way.
Okay. We continue our conversation today looking at issues around what's happening in the political space. The thought for a lot of people is that if a politician comes along and they don't give something, then we're not going to pay them audience. It's not that they're not going to vote for them, I've come to realize. It's that we're not going to give you audience.
Yeah.
The decision that they make later is really unto themselves. But it's that I'm not going to listen to you. I will not give you the numbers that are necessary for the optics of this political space. Is that a bad thing? I don't know if bad.
Okay, that would be bad. But I have a personal experience. Just 4 months ago, we had a by-election in my constituency, in my ward, about my area MCA. I think I chose to support a candidate of independent ticket. You know, I serve Fort Kenya. I'm a Fort Kenya Parliament. Fort Kenya came with the candidate. I decided to have my candidate who was independent candidate, not a political party. I know Fort Kenya is in government. There are things I don't agree with this government is doing. That's why I decided to move my way. You know, the system came with all the money. Money was delivered in cartons. People were given 1,000 note, a note to share with anyone. You go home. So when I took that to myself, I was there, I ran my candidate. I didn't have much money. Okay, I had money to move around, logistics, more fuel and everything to go around. You know, I had to stick to my principle. And I came to beat them, hands down. In the same ward that I serve, I got 7,000 votes. The system got 2,000 votes with a lot of money that they had. So our people, the audience, can decide, the voters can decide not to give you the audience, but they have you at heart. And I want to tell you that severally, when I was campaigning, you could reach a place where there are thousands of people. They said, Baba, wewe maliza haraka uende, usituharibie, kuna mtu anakuja na pesa mingi. So you are told to talk, even you talk for 2 minutes and go. But at the end of the day, they will give you the votes. In fact, those people, they could get a lot of money to a level that when you get there, they buy for you githeri. Okay. So it's not a guarantee that when they get entirely their money, they will vote for you. You are right. Yes. There's a rip of time. When it comes to like Kalau now, it's a time for rip off. You see, people have had problems for so long. Remember, we have people in this country where there is no breakfast, there's no lunch, they struggle for supper.
Yeah.
So if someone can come with 3,000, that can take you for around a week. So it's also good that they receive that money. And now the only problem is they are receiving that money at a cost. The person they will elect into that office, if they have to respect that man and vote for that person, and then that person will now be a system person. And that person will come to hurt them by bad policies back to them. So I'm trying to find that people, Kenyans are getting wide, their ears and eyes are opening up. They will get the money, they will eat the money, they will get the goodies. Remember, Olkalawa, I was seeing mattresses written on GK. GK. That means either those mattresses belong to hospitals or they were going somewhere in a refugee camp. Yes, because they are bought by government. I am seeing every senior government official in Olkalau now, up to yesterday. So, in fact, I got a friend who was saying that actually, Majimbo, I wish this chairman of IEBC made his trade right by postponing this election. Oh, is it? Because they really wanted it postponed so that they could continuously eat and eat more. So that is the kind of, so if the issue of tokenism is actually taking issue like this, I'm only worried where people will vote according to tokenism.
Yeah, Senator, you know, we'll talk about tokenism, people walking around with money against the anti-money laundering laws that we have in the country. And we see monies being given out against, again, the electoral code of conduct of the country. What that is criminal. It's an illegality because
it's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional. Yet it continues to happen. Where is IEBC? Where is police?
No, where is also EACC?
Where is EACC?
You know, all those institutions. We
institutionalized corruption that it's okay.
And also the police, you know, because the principle of our electoral system very clear that every election must be free of violence, free of intimidation. But what you have seen in Olekalau is to the contrary. You have seen people being attacked. You have seen vehicles being stoned. You have seen violence being meted against people. If you go to the principles of our national security system, and under Article 240, the National Security Council is chaired by none other than the President. Okay, the Minister for the CSE Interior sits in it. It says that the police ought to be neutral. When we are doing our politics, the police are supposed to be neutral. That's why the Constitution says in Article 245 that the Inspector General shall exercise independent command of the police force, so that the minister does not bring his affiliation to a certain political party to interfere. But as you rightly put it, everything has been violated in Olekalau. The Constitution, the Electoral Code, the Elections Act, Ethics and Corruption Act, okay? And nobody has done anything. It could even have been of some consolation if we had even received a statement and a report telling us that we have gathered this evidence, we are trying to tie loose ends, and that action will be taken. If you leave it that way, my dear countrymen, where will this country be in August 2027? Will we have a country? I mean, will President Ruto say, I'm a proud president of a country called Kenya, if we let this country go the way it's going in Olekalau, where you must carry, everything from mattresses to gas to money just to win one parliamentary seat. Whereas, in the days I went to school, I never had a president telling me that he's the one who has given me money to get the loan I got to go to university. You remember we used to pass, you get a letter at the post office, you report to university, and you are given a loan by the government. And nobody will talk about it, but the system was working. The system was working. I saw by elections when I was a young person, under President Kenyatta and President Moi. I never saw what I'm seeing now. It's like we are retrogressing. We are becoming more primitive instead of being civilized. If you read international news, you will see elections happening in the UK, in the US. Do you see this nonsense? You don't see it. There's a way we should conduct ourselves as a civilized country. We cannot behave in such a primitive way and expect it to become Singapore. How? You will not reach there.
That is coming at the backdrop of as a measure of control that was given by EACC in terms of how much campaign spending any individual will be having. The president, 4 billion shillings if you are campaigning. And one asks the question, in a country where already just handling the election is expensive in the continent, and then we're also looking at would-be candidates spending this amount of money, one asks the question, have we allowed the use of money to control our elections to a point where we are saying someone can spend 4 billion shillings but not ask them to show us the source of these monies? In developed democracies, political financing is managed by a body that is transparent to the state. You must state the fundraiser that took you to this much. This money kept with these accounts. Every day this money was spent. So you can account for the 4 billion that IBS actually talked about. But Kenya is not watertight, In fact, the original question you asked us is that how can an MP have 5 million at one day giving out? Yeah. When my salary of 600,000 shillings per month is taxed, I end up getting my net of around 200,000 or sometimes even 100,000. If someone has to go for mortgage, it even comes to 50,000. Where do you get the 5 million shillings at one time at a church function? That tells you there is a source of money that is not known. That's why I'm saying money in this country
it gets in at porous levels.
Or is it known?
Yeah.
Is it known and that it is not being used for what it's supposed to be used for, and is then being used in fiascos like this?
That's why there are accounts in this country that are untouchable accounts. You get somebody say that the money that's going to the intelligence and the security must not be known and audited. That is the area that we must be very careful. In fact, Senator Omogeni, my commissioner, we must find a way of how to even discuss the money that goes to intelligence. Because after that is the window, that is the pipeline, that state money come back to the members of parliament. You remember every Friday, these members who are saying the compliance MPs, the MPs who comply to the state, they have somewhere to go every Friday to pick that money. And you see, it's a lot of money. So we are trying to speak very clearly that surely, to be very honest on facts, the money that actually we are saying that should be controlled during campaigning, leave alone campaigning. In politics, when we are given a time frame of election like now in Olkalau, money must not be seen anywhere.
But then the thing is that there's no shame in this, it seems, it would appear. The former minister, just the other day when was being asked about how can we spend over 1 billion shillings in Olkalau already, and he said it could have even been 10 billion. So there's no shame.
Yeah, there's no shame
in
these
this,
guys.
and the question is, how then does it what is it that allows it to happen? And as you talk about primitivity, Senator, and we look at the pictures of men with bows and arrows and crude weapons, and I thought, and I likened it to, the warriors in a forest who are coming out to come and take control of the land, and that is a trend that has also started, which you alluded to, that money is also used to buy these to buy criminals who would come out and do things like this. So we're looking at a place where money is being used, and at the same time, violence is being used as a tool to reach a political gain. How can we say that we are operating under the ambit of constitutionalism when two of these things are operating in the same space?
It starts with putting the right person in the office. Actually, that top office needs a person with level head, a person who has integrity in his own, a person who, you see, they say that fish rots from the head. If the head is not clear, is starting to rot, the tail won't be safe. So as we move towards the general election, we have only 1 year to struggle with this fish. At the end, on 10th of August of next year, we must have the right fish in that office so that we don't have these problems. When you see a gang of goons with bows and arrows and pangas splashing on the road, going to kill people in a church. Actually, where is the CS? Security. Where is the PS? Where is the president who took the sword to protect this country? It cannot be in the rallies. It moves on the roads, and then it comes to the churches now as we talk. Actually, it was painful to see two leaders who are just going to pray in church, and then a lot of youths with pangas coming to cut them. Leave on that. Previously, when they were discussing issues of the finance bill inside a church in Nairobi, they attacked, and you see, they are continuously saying that we shall crack the whip when the number plate of the motorbikes are being exposed. I saw the media exposing number plates. They are the owners of that. You can get to know that. I myself, when I was moving from Busia to Kisumu, I was tracked by 2 Subarus without number plates. When I go to Kisumu, I got another one following me with the number plate, and the third one now. I had to call and report the police. When I reported that to the police, they called the owner of that number plate. They found it. When they called him, he said he hired it to the police. Kumbe, these Subarus that are being used by our people are hired ones from the people. So when they said, when we got to the bitter truth is that I was not agreeing with the government on some issues. I was followed by Subarus. I still want to believe that you saw tonight. I don't understand why my brother Kanini Keka was shot. We are talking it that as if it can be on us as we are talking here. So if I was followed by the thugs, I still want to say that the government should not silence people who speak the truth about this government.
Senator, when you talk about the stories of goons in the country, remember during the Gen Z demos when we saw individuals with batons walking were working side by side to police officers. Then you look at the senator who was attacked in Kisumu, Osotsi. You look at the attack in a church where Rigathi Gachagua was at the time, and also police officers there just being around, and even vehicles being shot for no apparent reason. We see Kisumu. We look at what happened in Nyahururu during Governor Kangata's meeting, and we are discussing Goonism in this room as if it has been normalized. We have normalized a situation that shouldn't be normalized. But you mentioned something earlier where the president chairs the National Security Council.
Yes.
Kenya has one of the greatest, if not the greatest, intelligence in the continent. Would we be wrong by saying that?
I don't know whether you are right.
They know exactly.
I don't know whether you're right about the greatest intelligence, because if you have the greatest intelligence,
it has been
then
touted.
we should have, by now we should have had a report about where is the source of the money that we are seeing, where is it coming from. And Mheshimiwa has spoken. You know, if you go to America, the Department of Justice probes each and every crime. Nobody is above the law. Well, what we have done in this country is to create a script that the rule of law applies to a certain class of people, but there are those who are above the law, that they can commit murder and get away with it. You know, all these cases you are giving, you know, you cannot have a country where a citizen, a life of a citizen is taken away and nothing happens. You know, I don't know if you remember what happened in the UK during the Hillsborough death, where football fans died in 1989. Do you know that after that, in these days, because of the way life is valued in the UK, it changed the way funds are handled in a stadium.
In a stadium, absolutely.
And the government had to form up an inquiry, look at the conduct of the police, and return a verdict that it was the police who were to blame. And that's after that, you know, there was a recommendation that all fans should now be seated in a stadium. Okay? So something was done to ensure that that does not recur again. Now, if you have a country like Kenya, where all these incidences we have given us, people get attacked, and the minister walks up the following day wearing very flashy watches and clothes and proceeds like life is normal. It's like we are not bothered. You get reports that 2 Kenyans have died from this violence and you feel nothing. I think I must make a very strong appeal to Kenyans that a time has come for us to do a radical shift in the next elections. And the accountability card must extend to some people who are holding offices now. Mheshimiwa, if you go to US, the Intelligence Committee, digs deep on how the government is spending money that is allocated to defense. The only caveat is that because of the sensitivity of some of these matters, you do the hearing in camera. You go to UK, the House of Lords, every year in June, holds a meeting with the Chief Justice, the Lord Chief Justice of United Kingdom. And he gives an account, how is the judiciary protecting human rights in the UK. You give a scorecard, You tell the country, how is the judiciary, dispensing justice to the people. You must tell us, these criminals who have been brought before the courts, have they been jailed so that there is deterrence? But what's happening here is that we have dropped the accountability card.
It's interesting that you say that, Senator, because, and I mean, our time is running out, but this question must be asked. Because even as we talk about this money being spent, invigilators, for example, last year have not been paid.
Imagine.
That's just one thing. It's among the thousands. But this is crucial here, because the chairperson of the Defence Committee of Parliament said that all of you have goons. All of you have goons that you're on your payroll.
Even Okong'o Omogeni.
Yeah. All politicians have goons. All of you have goons.
By the way,
proof you have an opportunity to tell us.
Remind you.
You know how you operate with them.
Do you know that when the wave of independence was blowing in Africa, one of the most stable countries used to be Somalia. Don't you aware?
Yes, indeed it did.
And Somalia deteriorated because of what we are seeing.
Yes.
This idea of clans fighting each other in Kenya is like people allied to certain political wings fighting each other. You start as a joke. By the time you realize there's no country. You now look at Somalia. Somalia has degenerated into lawlessness. Okay? Look at what happened in Sudan. And what was this military leader, Bashir. Okay? Bashir had an opportunity to lead that country in a manner that is a bit sensitive to the people he was leading. But he took people for granted. You saw what happened to him. Now look at what is happening in the Sudan. Yeah. So every day we must remind those who are in power today that power is transit. Murkomen should know that there is a time when he will be looked at as a former Interior Cabinet Secretary. And our life in this world is short. There is a time we will also exit the stage. So when you have been given this opportunity, try and make this country a better place. Just thumping will not do.
Majimbo?
One thing I don't like is the issue of killing a person, killing a youth, and then talking like compensating the family. It hurts me to the core. This is a country that is going to hand over after 5 years with a lot of people BWDs. Most of the people who have been shot, the generations have been shot. There is a way you can address the issues that the Kenyans are raising. Either you can stop and review. You can either come down and withdraw from some issues, but you cannot say that when they protest, shoot. I was hurt when the whole chairman of a committee carrying 10 million shillings to a function, when the principals are having problems with lack of capitation. In this country, you cannot blame students striking in schools because the principals have only money running a half of the term. The rest of the term, the students have no meat, they have no rice, and students don't understand anything. They will say, where is meat? That's why schools are being banned. And then when teachers close schools in the middle of the term, sanctions are placed on them. We have so many principals having a lot of pressure. They are under treatment or pressure and whatever. These issues needs a right person. That's why I'm saying you can build good houses, you can build good roads, but even a good man can build those good roads. So we are saying we must have a leadership in office that can do exactly the same he's doing, but with a good heart, a leader who listens to the people, a leader who does not pick things by force to us. A lot of things. I came in here when you were discussing about pipeline, That is our heritage. That's our treasure. Remember, it's being privatized. You see, where are we taking this country to? Good things that were given to us by forefathers, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Mzee Moi, Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, is everywhere being gone. You come to Bungoma, where I come from. The only source of economy in my people, Bungoma, is Nzoia Sugar Company. 1, by paying farmers. 2, by employing our sons and daughters. You see, when the farm was privatized, 80% of the employees in my county were sacked. They are at home. As I talk today, they are at home. They have not been paid their money. Farmers are demanding still their money from government. They are still quiet. You see, we are moving to where everybody's confusing up. And that's why I'm happy about the people of this country, that actually they have seen the power of change.
Absolutely.
Yes. And those people who don't accept the wind of change are swept by the same wind of change.
Interesting thoughts this morning. They're both representing people in this country. The people in the constituency of Kabuchai, represented by Majimbo Kalasinga, and the Senator for the Republic of Kenya, representing the people of Nyamira County, Okong'o Omogeni. Thank you both for joining us this morning in these conversations. Things that must be said. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.